right. Well, hello. Buenas tardes, everybody, and welcome to another section of another new eight week class. And this video goes out to everybody. This for those of you who are in the Southwestern College classes section, the Mass History 141 classes, and also the Mesa College Chicano Studies 141A. This video is for all of you, and it's basically my introduction to let you know who I am, who's the man running the show, the man behind the plan, the guy the brains behind the operation, so to speak. So I just wanted to go ahead and say a few things about myself. There's going to be a lot more videos for all of you as these next 8 weeks unfold. Some videos will be new. Some videos will be from last year, from the previous semester, and there's a few going back to about 2013. So for the most part, there's all fairly fresh videos in which we go through everything. And yes, I am Professor Cañedo, el Profesor Cañedo, Señor Cañedo, and any of those labels suits me fine. And I'm really happy to be here working with you guys for these next 8 weeks. Now, as we get started for this first week of the session, I do have a few more videos to go for, or at least one more video for you for this first week before we get going to the spring vacation. And the next video that I have for all of you, so whether you're in the Southwestern College sections or the Mesa College sections, the next video that I have will be more of a preview about the class itself, in which I go over all of the nuts and bolts things in terms of the assignments, the quizzes. There are a couple of minor variations in terms of what's being covered in the Mesa class and in the Southwestern sections. So of course there'll be some separate videos for all of you, depending if you're in the 141 class or the 141A class. But this video is more of a general video in which I talk a little bit more about myself, my interests, my background, what it is that makes el profesor, and any other fun facts and things of that nature. All right. Well, listen. Um, just a few things about myself right now. My interests. Um, uh, I was born and raised in San Diego County in the South Bay section. So I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school in the National City in Chula Vista. I'm actually a graduate from Hilltop High, so go Lancers. And as for college, I stayed local. My my BA is in anthropology from UCSD, and then I went to San Diego State, and my MA is in Latin American Studies. So a lot of the stuff I did in Latin American Studies at San Diego State had a lot of history and anthropology and a little bit of political science. So some of my favorite topics from that time included covering Mesoamerica, so of course the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Maya, the Teotihuacan. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing quite a bit already in both the 141 and the 141A sections. Other topics that I enjoy covering, and I do some work also at Grossmont College. I do U.S. history and the history of California, and and I've also taught at other schools around the county. So I did a little bit of teaching at Palomar College. I did a couple of semesters uh, at Cuyamaca College about 13 years ago, and and one of my first classes, one of my first sections was actually at City College way back in the late 1990s up to about 2000. So before I moved over to Mesa College, where of course I work a lot with Professors Ornelas and Lopez and Velez. Before I went over to Mesa College, I did a little bit of time over at City College. But for the most part, Grossmont, Southwestern, and Mesa, these are the places where I pretty much make my home, and I couldn't be happier at all of these three schools. Okay, other teaching interests besides Mesoamerica that I mentioned. I love covering topics like manifest destiny, which we'll get into quite a bit toward the end of the session. I do a lot of that for my Grossmont classes, both the early U.S. and the California history class, and also in terms of modern topics, because I do also do the for Southwestern, I do the MAS 142, and for Mesa, the Chicano Studies 141B. In fact, I've got a on-campus section of the 141B class. So for those of you in the right now in the 141A section, if you want to join me for for an on-campus section, join me in the summertime, which I do a 5 week session of the 141B class. But a lot of contemporary topics there. So of course, Cesar Chavez, Reyes Lopez Tijerina, the blowouts in which the students walked out of their classes in East LA back in the late 1960s, early 1970s. I get into a little bit of that, and also do a lot of the modern U.S. history for Grossmont. So topics such as the Cold War, World War II, Vietnam, and also topics such as music, popular culture, jazz, those types of things. I do quite a bit of that in my Grossmont College modern U.S. class. All right. Now a little bit more about myself. Like I said, I grew up in the South Bay, born and raised in National City. But I'm actually not living in San Diego County anymore. In fact, those of you in the I forget who it was, who I mentioned, if it was those of you in the 141 classes or the 141A class, but I'm no longer living in San Diego County. I'm up here in Riverside County. I'm in a little community just north of Temecula, east of Murrieta, south of Hemet, called French Valley. It's an unincorporated part of Riverside County, but there's a little bit more development going on in terms of new homes. So if you're familiar with the area and you go from San Diego into Hemet and you take the 79, that's Winchester Road. Uh, I'm in the area where you go past Temecula, you go up the hill, go by the little airport on the eastern edge of Murrieta, and that's the area where El Profesor is. I've been out here now for about 2.5 years. Um, it's definitely an interesting change of pace. It's quite different than what I was used to in City and Chula Vista, but I enjoyed it out here quite a bit. But I do still make regular visits to San Diego, so I usually go in at least every other weekend. Of course, at the beginning of the semester, and toward the end, when of course there's all the paperwork, the bureaucracy, in terms of getting my mail, all of that. I make a lot more regular visits usually at the beginning of the semester, the middle part of the semester, of course, where the 8 week classes make the transition. One 8 week session ends, another one begins. And then, of course, at the end of the semester with finals week, I make regular trips. But like I said, I do have the on-campus section coming up in the summer, so I'll be coming into town quite a bit during the summer and in the fall too. Actually, I just found out I'll be doing a one of the on-campus sections at Southwestern on the main campus for 141. It's going to be a night class. So for those of you in the 141 classes, have friends who want to join me maybe for an on campus class at night, then there's one option right there. You can definitely tell your friends and family about that. Um, okay, what else about me? Oh, let me go ahead and just wrap up a little bit with my outside interests and things of that nature, music, pets, uh, all of that fun stuff. In terms of music, I'm a big fan of, you might say, the older stuff, older classics. So whether it's the hard rock heavy metal that was really big in the 1980s, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Motley Crue. Of course, a lot of those bands now have been around for over 30 years. And also even older stuff, going back to the 1970s, like say Aerosmith, Deep Purple, Steely Dan, Rush. I'm definitely into that, and even older stuff too. So whether it's a classic jazz like Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, Stan Getz, uh, John Coltrane, all of that. I'm a big fan of those types of songs too. In terms of pets, my furry friends, I have quite a bit of those. I have three cats. Two that like to be outside, one who's inside. I have a great Persian. Sometimes she barges in when I'm doing these indoor videos from my home studio office. But I guess she's asleep right now, so but maybe she'll join me for a future video. And there's also a cocker spaniel, a 10-year old cocker spaniel. Uh, Even though he's getting up there in age, he's still quite rambunctious. But I guess all cocker spaniels are like that. They're definitely high maintenance types of puppies. Okay, and last but not least, in terms of sports, those of you who are hockey fans have probably figured out that El Profesor is a big fan of the Detroit Red Wings. So I've been a fan of the Red Wings for over 20 years. In fact, I've seen the Red Wings a few times in Detroit in the last few years, and then I saw them quite a bit in the 90s when they used to play the Ducks when they were in the Western Conference. So when guys like Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, Nicholas Lidstrom, when they were still playing back in the 1990s. So I saw those guys quite a bit. But I like the Ducks too, so they're my favorite local team. Um, in terms of hockey, I'm not really that big a fan of the Kings, so I was a little bit disappointed that the Rangers lost. I like the Rangers too. Um, but the Ducks have had a good season, so it'd be great if the Red Wings and the Ducks can be in the Stanley Cup final, which is just a couple of months down the road. So hockey playoffs are just right around the corner. Baseball's right around the corner too. So yeah, so keeping with the Detroit theme, I love that. I've been a fan of the Tigers for quite a while, but I also like the Dodgers too. So I know some of you who are Padres fans aren't too happy about that. I used to like the Padres a long time ago when I was much younger, but um, I guess it's just one of those things when you come out here and you see all the LA news and everything about the Dodgers on TV. It's just a natural progression, I guess. And since the Padres really haven't done much in terms of winning, when of course the days when the late great Tony Gwynn was around, um, I guess it was just a matter of time before I made that transition. Some of my high school friends aren't too happy about that, but they still talk to me, so I guess that's a good consolation. Um, okay, football and basketball, I'm not really much into that. I watch it from time to time, but if I were to pick favorite teams in football and basketball, it would be the Lions and the Clippers, respectively. And let's see, anything else I should mention about myself and Professor here? No, I think that's pretty much covered. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this video in just a bit here. So uh, the next videos that you'll be seeing, again, whether you're in the 141 or the 141 sections or the 141A section, I'm going to give you an older video in which I recorded at the beginning of the semester. So it's actually a fairly recent video which I recorded back in late January when the semester first started. That video uh, that video will be more of a recap of what the class is about in terms of assignments, in terms of what the quizzes are all about, readings, all of that fun stuff. So all of these subsequent videos for the rest of the session will focus more on the nuts and bolts of the class in terms of assignments. So several videos that you'll be seeing here will be the videos that I did for the first 8-week session. So even though the dates might be off a bit, in which I say, okay, everybody, this thing is due in February 15th. This thing is due March 2nd. Blah blah blah. So of course, ignore those due dates, but focus in on what I say about how to work on the assignments, how to gather articles, whether it's the EBSCO assignment. Uh, or how to work on the discussion boards. But from time to time, I'll have some new videos too. And of course, in the module section, in the weekly modules, I do have some older videos in which I give a video recap about each of the things you'll be looking at on a weekly basis. So again, the videos will be a mixture of things that I did, whether it was in the first part of the semester, the spring semester, things I did last year in 2014, or even some things that I did back in 2013. But all in all, these are fairly recent videos. You won't see anything in which I did back in 1999 or 2001, so in which Professor's hair is darker, he doesn't have as much gray hair, that type of thing. Uh, but I'll keep everything recent in terms of videos, and and wherever I can as this session unfolds, I'll insert some new videos hot off the presses in which uh, uh, I explain or elaborate about any last minute changes or upcoming due dates and things of that nature. Just basic nuts and bolts stuff about how the class operates. All right, so that's it from here. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you for these next eight weeks. Of course, spring break is coming up. And I know some of you right now in the Southwestern classes are having a bit of trouble tracking down the textbooks. So just be patient, hang in there. You've got the spring break to work a little bit more uh, to get caught up with the books. But for those of you, whether you're in the Southwestern class or the Mesa class, if you're having trouble finding books, let me know immediately. We'll try to work things out. So for sure, by the time we come back from spring vacation, the first part of April, hopefully by that time, everyone will have their books and we'll be good to go for the rest of the session. All right, so take care, everybody. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. I'll start reading your introductions toward the end of this week and into the spring break. So Grossmont, incidentally, Grossmont's on spring break now. They'll be back next week. So I don't get much of a vacation, but that's all right. So well, Grossmont is back. I'll work behind the scenes and make sure everything's running properly with all these classes, and I'll definitely be replying to your introductions during the spring break as well. So So again, that's great. Great to be a professor. I'm looking forward to being here with these guys these next 8 weeks, and I'll talk to you guys again very soon.